Hi, I'm Peter. I am an MC, translator, and interpreter. I'm really passionate in enabling and improving the communication skills of everyone, and I'm also very interested in personal growth related topics. And hopefully, through this interview, I would like fellow audience get to know about my thoughts in terms of communications, how we can communicate better, and also little tips and my experience in personal growth. Hope all of you would benefit from the interview.
Just introduce Peter, yourself.
Mhm.
As an MC, interpreter, translator, and also the area director for Toastmasters International. So let's
Yep.
get straight into the topic of Toastmasters, because Bong Chen actually asked, how many levels are there in a Toastmaster
Oh,
class?
a
What
question.
do you say, Peter?
A question from your friend.
Yes.
Right. Cool. So Toastmasters in general, it's actually an NGO that shares with people the craft of public speaking. We have two main components. One is the public speaking part, the communication part. Then the other is the leadership part. And currently, that's what your friend asked, how many levels there is. We actually have two systems. We have the previous system where we call competent communicators. Then now we are already transitioning to another new and more modernized education system where we call it pathways. All right, and everyone will be using pathways when they join Toastmasters from now on. And at this moment, Toastmasters, we have about 11 paths. So that's kind of like what we call 11 syllabus. It can range from if you want to be a humorous speaker, we have one whole syllabus on that as well. And if you want to enhance on your leadership, we have another syllabus or manual for that as well. And usually in each syllabus or each path, as we say, we have about 5 levels. The 5th level meaning that you have completed the whole manual. So you have from level 1 all the way until level 5. So the difference of this latest system, education system that we have, is that it's more modernized and it's more tailor-made. So regardless of what kind of skills that you want to further sharpen with Toastmasters, you can pick the particular manual that suits your need and own personal education goals. So that's the good thing we have if your friend wants to join us or know more about it.
So, Peter, basically what you are saying is that there are actually specializations that people can pursue in Toastmasters.
Correct.
Is that what you are saying? Okay.
Correct. That is it.
So, can you name a few of the examples on what kind of specializations they can pursue?
That's actually a good question. For myself, I'm actually pursuing a manual called Dynamic Leadership, actually. So in that path, my learning would be more tailored against the enhancement of my leadership.
Okay.
It can range from to conduct a training with my fellow members, or giving a leadership speech, sharing about what leadership is, or I would get an assignment on how to improve on resolving crisis, things like that. So that is the one I'm currently pursuing. And in total, we have about 11 paths, ranging from coaching, humorous, planning, and presentation, how to influence people, and how to build relationship. So there are many manuals that you can keep on pursuing, and the headquarter of ours is constantly in research and development to come up with new manuals. So
I think one of the idea is that many people have heard about Toastmasters being a public speaking club or association, but they don't quite understand what makes Toastmasters so different from any other public speaking clubs out there. Is the system and structure that is in place. Perhaps you can share a bit about Toastmasters. How does the system run?
all right, that's a good question. How it works is it's more focused, I would say, on the craft of public speaking itself, because we only have public speaking and the leadership component. And the reason why you are able to, so to speak, grow with Toastmasters is that we do have a lot of very accomplished members. That's one. Accomplished and senior members that have benefited from the systems and the trainings over the years, and they are still with the ecosystem, with the community of Toastmasters. So when you join, you actually get to learn from them firsthand. You would have very experienced senior members to guide you along the way. And like I said just now, the education system, they also have very detailed guidance on how each member should deliver one particular speech or assignment. You'll be given very detailed instructions and also guidance. So that actually helps you to grow in a very constructive way, in a very solid way, instead of just if you don't have the very clear syllabus, then it will be difficult for you to assess how much you grow and for people to guide you as well. So that is very important.
So from what I gather, because I've been to Toastmasters a couple of times, whether to visit a friend or just to check out the chapter, but I've never quite been a member. However, what I can see in Toastmasters is people expect that there should be an instructor of public speaking, but not necessarily so. What is so special about Toastmasters is they have in place a system where people and manuals that people that can follow, and we have peer evaluations and feedback from members of your own chapters or club.
Yeah, it's not really like a instructor, but instead it's more like a mentor-mentee. You would have more experienced members that has been through the whole process, and they can share with you and guide you for you to grow, to get on your path. So it makes the whole learning process not so intimidating, and at the same time it's more encouraging. That's the difference from perhaps the conventional way of learning public speaking.
And one of the section in particular Toastmaster meeting is what we call an impromptu speaking, right? I think there is probably like a draw of the topics, a random draw of topics. And I'm not sure how much prep time is given, or if there are no prep time given. And the person is supposed to speak on the topic for 1 minute, 3 minutes. Perhaps you can elaborate on it, Peter.
Yeah, sure. The impromptu system is the impromptu speech session is also what we call as table topic session, where you would have a table topic master that will be preparing the questions based on the given theme, or the given theme for that particular meeting. Then he or she would prepare the questions. Then anyone from the floor during the meeting can take part and challenge themselves. So you wouldn't know what is the questions right before the table topic master reads it out to you. So it's a very challenging, and at the same time it's a very, very fun experience. It makes you to think on your feet. Yeah, literally. You have to immediately process the question being given, and you come up with a feasible response. There is no standard answer, but as long as it's very engaging and convincing in some way, then you'll just pass the score. And the time being given is about 1 to 2 minutes. So that actually resembles the real life situation, perhaps like during working environment where your colleagues or your clients, your boss would come to you from time to time. Can I have the answer for this one? Or we're currently facing with these challenges. What is your response? Yeah, you would often get that kind of questions during, let's say, team meeting or discussion with your clients. So it's actually a very good training for people to learn how to process the info being given, and to actually come up with a feasible response in a very short period of time. And believe it or not, if you are good enough in that area of communication, it's actually a very essential part of your communication skill sets, which could actually help you to advance in your career in long term.
Yeah, it's very true, because the ability to think on your feet and to respond in a way that people can comprehend, I think it's a very good skill set. Like what you say, right? Often in meetings and real life situations, you do not have the luxury to actually prepare your script to speak on something. So in this way, I would say Toastmasters actually did a great job, prepping its member. So for those who are watching right now, if they are interested to join Toastmasters, how do they go about this?
All right, that's a good question. The easiest, or the way that you can find how to know more, is you can go to our official website, toastmasters.org. Yeah, from there you can find, or if you want to just start to learn a little bit more about what Toastmasters is about, you can go to the website and you can search around. And we also have on the top right corner of the website, we also have a corner called a button called Find a Club. So with that button, you can actually search for the nearest club to where you stay. And we also have address and the contact info of the club. So you can directly contact anyone from the club, and you can arrange a visit yourself. So that is very straightforward, very easy to find us. From then on, you can gauge how do you feel about the experience of attending an actual meeting. Yeah.
All right. Here's an interesting thing, right, for those who are watching. Either has been an MC and interpreter, is currently also an area director of Toastmasters. We'll get back to that in a while. But one of the things that I'm being informed is that Peter is also actually an introvert. And I think probably a couple of months ago, people would expect someone who is always out there, who is always presenting, public speaking, to be very extroverted in nature. So how do you make this transition from being a reserved or perhaps introverted person to someone who is now on stages speaking?
That's actually a good question. Because I perhaps I can start from the background of myself being raised, because in Asian cultures, especially of where we are from our own environment, it's actually not very how to say, encouraging for kids to express themselves, to speak out of their mind, because most of the time we are more encouraged to follow the instructions that we're being given, and to just do what we're being told. So in a large part of my life, I don't actually get much training on that, experience or exposure, just to express myself and learn how to communicate. So subconsciously, I always had the desire to learn how to speak well, how to communicate well, because I always feel like part of myself is like that. And another thing that we shouldn't forget is there's actually quite a large part of our society is actually introverts. So the definition of introverts always gets misunderstood in a way that people always mistaken it as introversion as being shy. So that might not be actually the case. Introversion means that the way that you are getting your energies are different from extroverts. So extroverts get their energy from interaction, social interaction with others, very more intense, more rapid interactions with others. Then they get their energy and they become alive. That's in extroverts. For introverts, they get their energy from solitude, that's to say, spending time with themselves, going through their thoughts, reflections. They go more inwards compared to extroverts. So for them, the way that they recharge is to spend time by themselves, to let things calm down, and to actually figure out things through. Then they can go out there and interact with people as well. So that's the difference between extroversion and introversion. This might be something that most of the people doesn't know, or perhaps might not know enough. So that is actually a dilemma that we can, or the taboo that we can get through with. And how I overcome, or to say find my way, is I joined Toastmasters about 4 years ago, and at that time I could still remember I was trying to figure out ways on how to communicate effectively, because I would feel nervous, anxious, because I don't know how to do it, how to speak out my mind, how to share my thoughts with others. So it's back to the system that is very supportive, the Toastmasters system that is very supportive. And those senior members that actually went through the whole process. So with the system and the guidance from seniors, I was able to learn how to overcome the challenges, overcome the hiccups, and find my own way. That's briefly how I managed to find my own ways and become a better communicator, so to speak. Does that answer your question?
Yes, indeed. So I think one of the things that we can learn from Peter's sharing just now is the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is often misunderstood. It is mostly how you derive your energy, right? Whether you derive your energy from interaction with people, or whether you derive your energy from solitude, like what Peter has said. And I remember a couple of months ago, you actually recommended a book. It's by Susan Cain, I think. The name of the book is Quiet. I would like to read a quote from the book, right? It says that people who are quiet and reserved is often being misunderstood, and there is a bias against those people, because our society at large actually values people who are very extroverted in nature. However, people do not realize the contribution that introverts can bring to the table. Can you share with us a bit about what kind of edge being an introvert gives you in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. That book is actually how I managed to find or a way to positively see my introversion. Because before this book, there wasn't many book that focus on helping introverts on how do they effectively or positively see their own characteristics. And what was the question again? It was quite long. Okay.
What kind of age and contribution do you think introverts can bring about?
Okay, the edge.
Yeah, the age. What is so unique about it?
The uniqueness of introverts, I would say, is their capability to actually go inward and reflect. Because as much as the capability to motivate a large crowd, to touch people in a large scale is important, you also, I believe it's fundamentally important for people to manage to go to a deeper level of the challenges that we are facing. Especially in times like this, introverts have things to bring to the table, so to speak. Introverts are able to go deeper into the roots of the problem and actually being able to see things in broader view. And that actually helps when you want to solve problem instead of kicking the can down the road, because you want to know actually what causes the problem. And then once you know the causes of the problem, then only you can come up with a sensible solution to whatever the challenges that you're facing. So that is the unique contribution that introverts can bring for the society. However, like you said, they have different energy level than the extroverts. That is one of the challenges for introverts. So how can we get enough attention, or the same attention compared to extroverts? So to do that, in one way or the other, you would have to see the channel or the method of public speaking as an essential tool to actually help you to share your thoughts, instead of being a bit of scared of it, maybe. Some introverts are resistant towards standing in front of a crowd. So you can learn how to overcome that by acknowledging that you yourself is an introvert. You should be okay with that. And at the same time, you should allow yourself to have time to socialize with the society in general. You don't have to socialize as intense as extroverts. That is one thing that introverts can learn and realize. To have an effective network of social contacts, you don't actually have to be as intense, but you can always be focused, like what group of people you want to get closer with. So build a stronger bonding with the specific group of people that you want to get in touch with. Like, for example, for the case of yours, Terence, you are close, you're active with the Rotaract clubs. So, for example, if I'm an introvert that wants to be more active in serving the community in charitable causes, then by all means, you can just focus on that and you stay active with that group of people instead of trying to socialize with everyone in the world. That actually helps you to have a clearer mind, because introverts, they need a stronger motivation to socialize. Yeah, so they
That's actually
don't.
a good point. Yeah.
It's harder for them to socialize for the sake of
Mm-hmm.
just socializing.
Mm-hmm.
You would seldom see introverts uh, running around in nightclubs saying hi to everyone. Trying to
Mm-hmm.
talk to if you're a guy trying to talk to every ladies. That is pretty
Mm-hmm.
much mission impossible for introverts. But however, they can always they have the capability to actually listen compassionately, to listen
Mm-hmm.
tentatively with things that
Mm-hmm.
they actually care and pay attention to. That's the difference of communication.
That's a very interesting strategy that you have raised.
Correct.
As in, you can still socialize, but you can be focused and to actually choose a network, a place that you feel is very close to your heart, that is very relevant to what you are passionate about. That will make your socializing much easier. Which is actually very interesting because nowadays, especially even nowadays, where everyone needs to be out there, to be active on social media, to actually put their face on the front, right? I've just read a post is from one of the entrepreneur groups that I'm in, right?
Hmm.
So the this is supposed to be a consultant. This consultant actually has a challenge because the founder of this company is refusing to show her face. She doesn't feel comfortable, whether in pictures or in videos. So they are scratching their head, right? Like, how can I promote this company and give it a human face if the founder is herself unwilling to be interacting with the public? What do
Hmm.
you think? Have you been forward with such a challenge and how do we overcome this?
That's actually a good question.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two ways of looking at it. One is if you have a team of people with yourself, if you know, uh, and
Mm-hmm.
among your team members, you do have outspoken members that can convey messages effectively and influence people. Then by all means, you should assign the role of communicating and dealing with the crowd to that particular team member of yours, and you yourself focused on your strength. You don't actually have to uh, push yourself if you are a more introverted person. So that is one.
Mm-hmm.
The second case, if you are like a solopreneur, like in my case, then you can choose
Yep.
or plan ahead of your socializing schedule, so to speak. How much of time do
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to allocate to socializing every week? Who do I
Mm-hmm.
want to socialize with? And how often do I want to socialize every single week? Don't always feel guilty of not socializing enough. Put down a solid number. Give yourself a quota every week. What do I want to achieve from socializing and branding? And how much time every week do I want to spend on socializing and marketing myself? Because your time is actually limited, whether you are one person business or your 100-person business, your time is always limited. So you need to stay focused and at the same time be sensible with your time planning.
Very true, very true. Sound advice. There's this question, right? Have when before you are able to transition to becoming a freelancer right now on being a full-time MC, interpreter, and translator. And for those that just join in, welcome, welcome. With me here today is Peter Chin. So we want to understand, right? Is there any jobs that you first took on before you are able to transition to becoming a full-time freelancer and MC interpreter? How does one make such a transition?
All right, that's another good question. I think, regardless of
Mm-hmm.
jobs, it's actually of how do you um, how much control do you take in your career, and what do you actually want to achieve? Because having a job and actively putting in effort to build your career is two different things. We have to be very clear on that, because most of the people in the society, their goal or their intention is to have a good paying job, isn't it? While there is nothing wrong with that, in career-wise, it's actually a passive move for yourself. So how do you, like what Terence you mentioned, how do I utilize the opportunity of every job to build the career that where I am now? Okay, for example, I've once worked at a restaurant before when I was studying in college, and it's actually like a family business. The mom was cooking at the kitchen, then the son was doing the bar, serving drinks, taking orders. And how do I utilize that opportunity is I would often go to the kitchen and help out to cook if there is not much of customers. Okay, then if the bartender needs help, then I would go there and help make drinks. And then if the customers want to take order, I would go. And because I often help out in the kitchen, I was able to tell and share with the customers what actually goes into your plate of food and how does it taste like. And if I have a certain dietary requirements, what do you recommend me? Or if I feel like indulging in good food today, what would you recommend me? And in that process, I was actually maximizing my learning opportunity. And at the end of the day, I was able to learn in depth of how do you actually build a successful, let's say, F&B business. And if you think of it, if you are only passively working, like in my case at a restaurant, and your focus is only getting your job done, and at the end of the day, the only thing you think about is getting a pay raise from your boss, more pay, then that's it. That's the only thing that you get from the whole labor process. So there are two ways of thinking of every job that you get into. So if you are willing to go a little bit further, you don't have to push yourself too hard. You just need to look around at your job. Okay, what can I further learn to become better at my job? And if I can offer to contribute a little bit more for the company, then I also get to learn more. So the latter is the thinking that I have since early days, because I might change from one job to the other, but that philosophy of thinking always sticks with me. So I don't wait for people to share with me or what to do, and only wait for my paycheck at the end of the month. But no, the money does keeps me alive, but at the same time, I always actively looking for opportunities to learn. If I want to know more, I'll ask around. If other people are willing to let me help out, I would, go ahead and help a little bit more. And at the same time, I can, if you use that approach in your career, you can always have a little bit more insights of what you are good at and what you like or don't like. Because if you want to build a career that you are satisfied with, you have to know what you're good. You have to know what you're good at, what you like or don't like. Then you can have enough information, you can have enough foundation to build. If you want to start a business, if you want to hunt for the job the ultimate career that you want, then you have enough tools in your arsenal to actually pursue for that particular job.
Very true, very true. I mean, both persons could be working on the same job, but adopting a different mindset could use you different results, and you could also learn different things. I think there is a saying where it goes something like this, right? Always go the extra mile because it's not crowded. No one is going the extra mile, so you learn a lot more. And although you are working in an everyday job, you are an employee, but always have this mindset of trying to learn more, to be proactive, to actually look at things from a management or business standpoint. And this will take you far. You'll be able to extract from whatever that you are doing a lot more compared to others. I think this is a good lesson from Peter.